Hey guys, I'm back here again from CNH Small. You got our quick failure analysis for a guy's machine over here for you guys. The customer brought us over this machine here. This is a 2019 production machine. The name they have in the front of the machine here is called a Hyper Tough. Here's the information on the front right here. Hyper Tough. Trademark 20-inch cut, and it has the adjustable front wheels and back wheels on this one as well too. This one I refer to it as a Chinese engine because the fact is the actual machine is made in China, and I have a sneaking suspicion that probably the engine is also made in China as well too, because as most people know that Briggs & Stratton does have factories over in China, and I'm willing to place a bet that the whole entire machine is actually made in China right there for that. So they make the frame sub-assembly and wheels and adjusters and the actual handlebar and everything else over there, probably over in China. Plus they also have Briggs slap the engine on over there after they get done assembling the deck and stuff like that. So we'll give you a shot of the manufacturer's called barcode, serial code, stuff like that on a machine here as well too. Here's the identification tag right here for that as well too. And here's the it says made in China right here for that. Here's your information tag right there for that. You have a barcode scanner machine for your smartphone, and you also have the secondary identification tag over here for that as well too. There's your information. Manufactured in China right there, specifically for that, made in China. There you go. And it has a website on here for that. It says mowerservicedealer.com. I never went to the website yet, nor did I call the phone number. And on the tag right here it says manufactured by Ningbo Day Garden Machinery Company Limited. It says Xinjiang, China on there for that. So this is a Chinese source machine, unfortunately. This is one of the first ones we've seen over here this past year that had actually had a tag on a machine that said it was produced in China. So it looks like they're trying to ramp up production and try to ship them over to the United States over here for that. This one also has your typical new generation Briggs & Stratton engine on here as well too. This is a 2019 based on the model year on the one side of the gas tank right here. You got the 2019 engine on here as well too, and that's what it has specifically for that. This one also has a primer bulb as opposed to the typical auto choke on the actual better models out there for that. So the reason why the customer brought it over to us was because they were having problems where they were claiming the machine was banging and clanging. I asked the customer what happened. They supposedly hit some kind of a rock or a stump in their yard, and they bent the blade up. And I'll show you what the blade looks like underneath here. You probably can't really tell, but the blade is definitely bent underneath here. Plus also they have a rather unique call flywheel or call crankshaft adapter underneath here as well too. The blade's all chewed up all along here, the whole edge. It's all chewed up. Whole edge is all this whole edge looks like somebody just took a file or something, just went all along and just cut the whole entire edge up. The other portion is bent quite considerably over here. It's bent down on here, and the adapter they have on here has two little crescent moons, like an oval shape on this one here. Let me see if I can zoom in here and give you a better shot here for that, so you can see it. That's what the adapter looks like right there for this one specific design. They have two oval shaped, they look like racetracks basically on the one side and the other side right there for that. And those ones are kind of buggered up on there. So the guy's machine, he needs a new blade adapter on there. Plus the other thing is other thing that was worrying me is the actual crankshaft was wobbling considerably underneath here as well too. And anytime it's wobbling, I strongly advise to not have the machine repaired, simply because it's going to cost more than what the machine's going to be actually worth, because typically these machines are bought up at I'm trying to think, Walmart or one of the other big box stores for probably about 140 to 160 bucks out there, and they're not really cost effective if you want to have any kind of major repairs on a machine. Plus the other big problem he was having with the machine was he was claiming there's a lot of noise coming from the top of the engine right here, and whenever he took off the shroud, We took the cover off. We examined the top of the engine on here. Here's your shroud cover right here for that. For your recoil unit, anything else is basically built into it right here for that. That's your whole recoil assembly unit right here. And you got your crankshaft on the top of the engine on here. The crankshaft looks relatively okay on the top on here. I'll spin it around here. Let me grab the blade underneath there real quick. Let me take the spark plug off here to be on the safe side. Let me get that thing out of there if I can. Get this thing out of here. Hold on, guys. Okay, get this thing out of there. There we go. Got it off. Okay. Let me spin the blade over here a little bit. Let me show you that right now. There we go. Crankshaft's coming around. And there we go. Crankshaft looks okay on there. So there's a crankshaft right there. Crankshaft keyway looks relatively okay. It's not, seriously damaged or anything else like that. The brake looks okay on here. Like I said before, it's a 2019 model, so it's relatively in still factory good shape out there for that. Ignition module looks okay. However, the flywheel is damaged on here. The key, let me see if I can get a better shot here for that. There's the key right there. You can zoom in here, show you the damage to that right there as well too. Your key is definitely squeezed. It looks like the thing's mushroomed over on each corner on there for that. So you can definitely see how it is damaged on there for that. It's definitely screwed up on the actual key. And also the bigger problem is he has a crack. Got a crack right there on the one portion where the actual keyway fits right down inside. So you see the crack right here. Get that big line and big crack right along there, going along the whole outside of the inner diameter right there for that. Whenever we first took off the cover on here to examine the flywheel on here, this thing was extremely loose. It basically came off my hands, so it looks like somebody may have not torqued it up correctly, or from some kind of a sheer impact it might have got damaged. I honestly don't know, but I'm just going on what the customer is telling us, because the customer was not too mechanically inclined, to say the least. So I'm thinking either the flywheel was not connected securely out here, because you have to put these things up to a certain PSI or a certain foot-pound to keep them on here, and the actual nut on here was extremely loose. It basically came off, just hand tight and hand tight on her for that. So the flywheel is definitely screwed up on here. You can probably barely see the crack. There's a little hairline. You can probably see it right about there. There's a little hairline crack, one on the bottom right down here as well too. And on the top portion, you can definitely see the big crack right there, guys. You got a big crack going right along the whole side right there. So the machine, we did call the customer up here and we told them what needs to be done on here. Now they have not called us back, but more than likely it's not going to be worth repairing because of the fact that he has too much problems on here with this machine. Other than that, the machine did start up and run. I honestly couldn't believe how it started up in one pull basically. But the problem was it was extremely noisy on top of the engine, plus the engine, the whole thing's shaking like that on the bottom because of the flywheel, or I mean the crankshaft is wobbling, and also the blade is bent as well too. So it's not going to really be cost effective to repair this machine, because anytime your crankshaft becomes damaged on the bottom of the engine, these machines, you have to replace it, guys, because your cranks will be wobbling like that underneath there, and it's not going to run smoothly out there for that. Plus you run the risk of having long-term damage to the engine as well too, because it's constantly oscillating back and forth in a elliptical shape rather than having a nice smooth rotation right there for that. So this machine, unfortunately, I personally would probably just slap a new engine on here if the customers didn't care about the price, but the customer is definitely not going to want to have to spend more than $100 on this kind of repair right there for that. So it's not going to be cost effective to repair this machine, simply because of the parts and time and effort need to be involved to actually repair it correctly right there for that. So this is your good old hyper tough Chinese built, Chinese assembled new production, new generation engine out there for that. Your engine is probably definitely made over in China as well too, so the whole machine's practically produced in China. And we'll give you another shot of the tag on here as well too for that, for a second reference here. So let me just clean that off there. There we go. Made in China. give you a shot right here again too for that. Here's your identification tag. And 2019 production, and we'll give you a shot of the identification tag on the front of the machine here. Here's the new one they got in front right here. They have a better scanner thing on here as well too. So you got your serial number right here, and you got your engine model number in front on the 2019 variants right here for that. So you got the 08 model, and you got the serial number with a 19 on here for the designation. So you got all your good features right there on the actual scan. We'll call it scan thing right there, guys. There we go. Focus good there for you. And you also have the more traditional information tag on the other side of the engine over by the dipstick on here for that. So the other thing I think I forgot to mention was yeah, he had virtually no oil in this engine. We pulled the dipstick out of here. The dipstick was bone dry, and these engines typically have a capacity of about 15 ounces max capacity when you fill them up, and they are extremely sensitive to oil. If you put like 20, 25, 30 in there, it's gonna start puking the oil out of the breather on there. And this past week we had a guy, no joke, he had about 45 ounces of oil in his crankcase down here. It basically hydro-locked the engine, and we had to take the spark plug out, and it was just oil seeping out of the combustion chamber up there. It was blowing out of the muffler, and the guy had at least 45 ounces of oil in the crankcase. I drained it out for probably about 10 minutes, and we got about 45 ounces of oil just out of the the whole sump crankcase down there, and there was oil puking out of the combustion chamber up front. He had oil leaking out of the muffler, and also the breather over there as well too. So he had definitely in excess of the max capacity allowed for these engines, because these things are extremely sensitive out there, guys. You cannot overfill them, guys. I'm just trying to stress that as much as possible. And here's your other serial number, model number, designation code on the right hand side of the engine here for reference points. So there you go right there. Manufactured 2019, and there's your model number as well too, right next to the dipstick on the right hand side of the engine as well too, guys. So that's everything about this machine. Good old Chinese sourced lawnmower. These things typically sell in our general area for probably about 140 to 150 bucks out there. I personally do not recommend them, so no way, guys. This is a no-go kind of machine myself personally. I recommend getting maybe like a MTD version or something like that. Something at least like some kind of American brand. Unfortunately, this one's does not have any kind of MTD, Sears, or Craftsman logos anywhere on it other than the Briggs engine. And typically, most of these Briggs engines are probably made in China anyway, guys. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot, feel free to drop me a message here, and I'll try to get back to you with some kind of basic information about this machine if you have any comments or questions about this problem on this job here, or the machine in general for that, guys. So I'll see you. Have a nice day.